Welcome back to the show. You are watching Ashley and Namdi
Me
show,
and
and we are your
him.
favorite hosts, Namdi,
And Ashley,
and
you
a
can introduce me.
beautiful,
Remember me?
wonderful woman sitting right next to me, causing me problems. No. All right.
The best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
How's your week? How you enjoying your Sunday?
Sunday is not too shabby. I mean, we just ate, so we feel good.
Yep. All
Our
right. So
bodies are nourished.
we're
Okay, go
gonna
ahead.
we're gonna dive right into the show so we don't bore you guys.
Well, we just really want to talk about a thing that like is a lot of people are talking about, and it's all over the news, and everyone has their own ideas about this whole topic, and even like I'm sure everyone's talking about this at dinner, and your parents are like, ah, you darn lazy kids. So, anyways, nobody wants to work anymore.
Nobody wants to work anymore. Do you believe that?
I
So
do believe that. I don't blame them.
here's the deal. The headline I first heard about. I've been hearing about it since after the pandemic, and people are starting to return back to work. Some companies are hiring. Some are hiring aggressively. People are starting to get more comfortable with remote work. Now, recently, it seems like all over the airways and all over corporate media, there's this debate about people not wanting to return to work.
What type of jobs though are they not returning to? Is it a specific type of job you say, or is it like
Well, from what I hear, from what it seems like, it's across the board. Some people,
so it's like all the jobs, like healthcare to, just to service workers or to
it seems like it's low
whatever.
wage work, but I perceive it to be across the board because I'm putting myself in that situation as
Mm,
well. I haven't returned to work in a few months now. And here's the reason why, in my perspective. One,
hmm.
and this to me is the biggest one because everybody in the corporate media seems to avoid this. Wages are not keeping up.
That's huge, actually.
Newsflash.
I think
Newsflash.
the pandemic showed everyone that like what they're making isn't actually worth putting your like mental health and your physical health and just giving away your time. It's not worth putting all that at risk. You're giving a lot of yourself for what?
For
For what?
pennies. Okay, over 40 years, wages have not kept up with inflation. And since last year, since the government started pumping so much money into the economy to shore up the economy, which is understandable, inflation is here. I don't care what they put out on the news as far as that inflation has not started or is maintaining at a certain level. Forget about it. Asset prices are through the roof. Most people can't afford to buy homes. Most low wage workers can't afford to buy homes, and you expect them to keep making what I consider slave wages. Can you imagine that in 2021 they're having conversations about minimum wage $15 an hour? I think it's. I mean, what do you think
At
about
this
fifteen
point,
dollars an hour?
especially since I mean, maybe $15 an hour a few years back would have
A
been
few years, a decade or
maybe
20 years ago, fifteen
yeah.
dollars should be the right conversation.
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago it would have been a living wage, but especially now
Can't be talking
after
about.
inflation, after okay, taxes are going up, the cost of living is going up everywhere. It's not just where we were in California, because even when we were back in California, we noticed, I mean, even the grocery store, almost everything I usually buy at the grocery store went
Mhm.
up by like a whole dollar.
Right, significantly.
So yeah, and
And
then gas went up, like everything goes up. And you think $15 an hour is really gonna
we're not even there. They haven't even passed $15 an hour
that's not
across the
livable.
country, and yet we're having a conversation about people not wanting to go back to work, but we're not having a conversation about paying those same people more to live. Um, so that's the hypocrisy that I hear. Now there are other reasons why people are not going back to work, namely the fact that a lot of people after being forced to work remotely, I found out that you're wasting a lot of time commuting to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're wasting, it's a whole lot more efficient and productive if you just sit at home and do work over the computer, over Zoom or whatever, you know,
You can have a better
online.
quality of life that way. You're less stressed.
Think about
Um,
single mothers who can now spend more time with their kids at home.
mm-hmm.
Just not just single
You can
mothers,
save on
parents
childcare.
save on childcare.
You can
There's
save on gas.
there's so many reasons why remote work offers you a better quality of life
Mm-hmm.
than driving so many hours on the road back and forth just to get to work. Um, Automation is
You
also
can
here.
monitor your kids better. You can make sure that they're actually doing their homework or getting a better education. You know what your kids are doing, because
Right.
back in the day when both parents would work,
Hmm.
if both parents aren't, they're not really paying too much attention to what their kids are doing or what they're learning in class. Janine, our aunt Janine, like how she's a teacher, she's always so frustrated about how parents don't really, and the parents can't help it because
It's
they're
not, yeah,
working.
it's
It's
not
not
their
really their
fault.
fault, but like they're not involved in their kids' education at all. They expect it to just be all the teacher, and the teacher's like, you have to help them with their homework. You have to help them read. I can't do
Right.
everything for them.
She's been a teacher for 30 years, and
Yeah,
and you have to imagine, like, after putting that much time teaching kids and you find out that a lot of parents are disconnected from their kids.
yeah.
There's a generation of children who have
We're
grown up
very
with their children,
disconnected from their parents,
um,
and yeah,
disconnected with from their parents, not really because their parents don't want to get involved, but a lot of them are
they
keeping
just
two to
can't.
two to three jobs just to make ends
Just
meet.
yeah.
So now that they have a lot of them now have options to work from home, I would take it
Wow,
over. I mean, I don't blame them for taking that option,
it solves
or
the
even
problem right there.
pushing for that option. We only live a very short life on this earth. Why do we spend all that time working for other people, or work? Not that there's anything wrong with working for other people, but if there are options of improving that life, like, your work life balance, I think we should be encouraging people to take that option rather. But what you're finding is that corporate media, Fox, CNBC, MSNBC, and the rest of them, they're spending a lot of time just knocking low end workers and the labor force, calling them names, calling them lazy, and that they don't want to go back to
They
work.
just want to live off the government now,
That
and
it's all about the stupid welfare that they're getting. What?
that three hundred
First of
dollar
all,
check you're getting. Okay, that's
first of
twenty
all,
four hundred dollars a month. It doesn't really get you very far, and it's probably what you're making anyway.
not only is that welfare so
Yeah.
low, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and most people don't even get that welfare check.
Yeah, a lot of people have not actually been able to get their unemployment check in their counties or whatever, and they're actually having issues with that. So not everyone's even able to get what they're entitled to.
Hmm. Hmm. So, I will encourage the media and just the general public that we need to have a more empathetic conversation around this topic of wage and labor. Um, Gone are the days where you just expect people to just slave away.
Hmm.
Human beings, I mean, entrepreneur, if you're a business owner out there, it's now time that you now focus on your employees. It's not just about your customers anymore. Your employees are also you should also take high priority. Take care of your employees and they'll be loyal to you. Cater to them. We're all human beings. And the final reason why I find that a lot of people, and I think that applies to us as well, is the fact that entrepreneurship is an all-time high now.
I
There's
was seriously I was about to say, like, don't forget about the people who decided to take this opportunity that, this unemployment opportunity to maybe explore other things. You do something for
Yes.
yourself. So I think that, like you said, entrepreneurship, a lot of people are
Right.
working for
and
themselves.
and we should encourage that.
Yeah.
We should encourage entrepreneurship. That's what builds the economy. We need people to be creators instead of consumers. The days of just pushing consumerism on everyone, it's not healthy. It's not it's the economy, we can come back as a country when everyone has their hands on deck building that economy. If you're an entrepreneur, the government needs to create an environment that's conducive for entrepreneurship and not vilify it and not make it difficult for people to venture off into entrepreneurship and pursue their dreams to create things that will benefit all of us in the long run. One of those things would be to go ahead and just pass this Medicare for all. I mean, it should not be in 2021 that people are afraid of leaving their jobs because they're afraid of losing healthcare. That's outdated. Okay, there should be Medicare for all. There should be living wage, not
Do you think
slave
that this
wage.
might lead to like universal base income, maybe?
I think that they're pushing that, they're just kicking that ball down the road because they're cowards. And I'm talking about, when I say them, I mean people in Congress and people in government, but it's inevitable. They're eventually going to have to do it because uh, what they've been doing over the years is just band-aid over wounds. Obamacare was an initial attempt at it. It was not comprehensive. What they really needed to do was to build upon that. But they used politics to divide it and destroy it. Uh, the other thing is, in addition to Medicare for all, is living wage. You got to pay people well to allow for people to move around and spread around. The country is huge, but you find that because of the way where the jobs were, there was a lot of cluster and crowding in metropolitan areas and big cities like New York and LA. But people are now starting to disperse. That's good because it's going to help real estate prices to kind of balance off, and you're not having these ridiculously priced real estate in certain areas. Okay, so let's have this conversation with empathy. Um, and we're in at 30 minutes, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I don't want to sound like we're preaching, but this topic was very near and dear to us because it applies to us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, technically it does.
So, if you're within the labor force, the working class, within that age, and this conversation affects you, I encourage you to pursue your dreams. Go after your heart. Don't be afraid. Take the chance and plunge out there. If you want to go back to work for an entrepreneur, find an entrepreneur or a business that caters to you. Don't work for people who just consider you numbers. You know, and then if you're a risk taker and you're willing to get out there and start something, do it. You're going to be building equity for yourself and your family, and you're going to create something that's going to give you fulfillment and satisfaction in the long run. And not only that, you're going to build skills because there's a lot of skills that happens when you take the chance to do something that you've always wanted to do. Fail at it. It's okay to fail while you're creating, because then you build, it's like repetitions, and you build you build that skill, and you can create something that you're proud of. Anything else? Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up for this content. Thank you all for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section, share the video, and we'll see you next time. And we'll bring you more love from Namdi and Ashley. Also, remember, be empaths, be an empathetic human being, be a compassionate human being. There are five things that can make you an empathetic human being. One, be present, listen with your heart. Take the time to learn about other people. Understand that we're all in this together. I can't remember the fifth one, but you get the point. We'll see you next time.